This is my 93 Toyota Rockcrawler LS swapped on 40s, and today I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the Alternator and weldernator setup that I've got on here. This is the stock factory LS truck accessory system, and on top is the factory alternator position. This is actually an upgraded 250 odd amp output Denso hairpin 6-phase alternator, and that's mainly because I killed an alternator winching a lot one time, so this keeps up much better with a winch at idle. And to the side you can see another alternator, and this is actually the weldernator, and I've built a bracket that holds it down here on the side of the factory alternator bracket. And what you can do is you can come over to this side, and with a 15mm wrench you can push on the spring-loaded factory belt tensioner, and you can swap the belt from the top alternator to the weldernator. So as you're going down the road, the weldernator's got no sort of parasitic draw on your engine. And round to the side, the output leads of the weldernator connect to this little box, and I can plug my welding leads in here. There's a readout of the voltage out of the weldernator. Typically for a 330-second rod I'm looking about 60 volts open circuit, and that drops to about 30 or 40 as you're welding. And on top is a switch to feed ignition power to the field, so you get full output from the alternator. Behind the driver's seat in the pickup you've got this little hidey hole, and this is where I keep my welding gear. This bag's got welding helmets, some welding rods, some safety gear, some welding rods, and you can see my welding leads just all curled up there. I've got my welding leads rolled out and plugged in, and I swapped the belt over to the weldernator. It's a bit tough to film because it's a two-handed job. Truck's just running off the battery I've stored at the moment, and if I flip this on, this gauge has had a hard life, so it bounces around. But if I flip it on, you can hear the weldernator getting full field voltage, sitting at about 50 volts. That's enough to strike an arc but not really hold it, so I need to idle up the engine a little bit, so I'm just going to find a stick or a rock to shove under the throttle stop. One thing that I didn't mention already is that this is actually an overdrive pulley. I was hoping that I'd have enough welding voltage and current at idle, but this is actually better because it still gives you a little control. So I'm sitting at about 1250 RPM. Up a little bit of steel under the front stop there. I ended up just kneeling down in the street and welding these two pieces of 1/8 inch plate together. I didn't even bother with the mill scale. This was 3/32 6013 rod, and the slag was a bit resistant, so I just brought it in here to put in the vise and hit it with a wire wheel. Yeah, you can see my arc welding skills aren't the greatest, but you know, to stick some steel together and with some boogers and get off the trail gets the job done. Like I mentioned in the podcast, the real important part about having a weldernator is getting a alternator with a non-avalanche set of rectifier diodes in it. As far as I know, there's no modern alternator that comes with non-avalanche diodes because the manufacturers really want to protect your electrical system in case you have a rectifier or some failure in the alternator. But I did find this set of rectified diodes for a CS144 on eBay. There's no mention of them being non-avalanche in the title, but if you dig into the description, it does say that, and the seller is California under Alternator under Starter. And I'll just scroll down to where it says it. So 660 amp diodes, press fit, not avalanche, and I think there is maybe one other retailer I've seen for these diodes, but they're pretty much twice the cost. So I was quite happy when these worked out. The other part of welding on the trail that's really handy is having a decent welding mask. Now you're not going to have space in your truck probably for a shop style hood, so for a while I did carry just the green sort of oxyacetylene style goggles with a darker shade in there than what they have for oxyacetylene. But they were, a bit of a pain on a number of fronts. You get a bit of sunburn on your face if you weld for long enough, and you kind of need to flip them up and down as you strike the arc. And a lot of the times on the trail, you don't have a vise or, some good way to hold the parts, so it kind of makes it problematic. Ian turned me on to these leather cheap Chinese masks. They're auto-darkening. They prevent you from getting sunburn on your face. They look pretty. They look and feel pretty chintzy, but they actually seem to work pretty well in my experience. And I can't vouch for the longevity bouncing around in the truck, but the times that I pulled it out, it's worked so far. And because it's auto-darkening, you've got a better opportunity to sort of hold the parts together with one hand and hold the stinger in the other, and get a good arc happening.